Let's talk this through. As we are attempting to identify the congruent corresponding parts, it might help you don't have to, but it might help for you to actually draw out the picture so that you can see what's going on, right? You can totally do everything you need to do straight from this congruence statement, but some of you, like me, are more visual people. So I'm gonna draw these two congruent triangles out, and I'm gonna say, all right, well, triangle ACB, and I'm going top, right, left, ACB. And if I do it that way on the left triangle, I have to do the exact same thing on the right triangle. U, H, F. Now, if you're a more visual person like I am, this is going to be a lot easier for you to identify all 6 pieces. Not that you have to. You could do it straight from here. But if you're visual like me, it helps sometimes. So let's do the side pairs first. We got AC and UH, right? And we know because AC are the first two, UH are the first two, right? Then we can do CB and HF. And then last we can do BA and FU. And don't forget to put the little hats on so that we know that we're dealing with line segments. So here's our 3 side pairs. And now we can do the angle pairs. We've got angle A and angle U, angle C and angle H, and finally angle B and angle F. These are our 3 angle pairs. And especially for triangles, it doesn't need to be drawn out like this. You could take everything straight from the congruent statement ACUH, CBHF, BAFU, and then angle A, angle U, angle C, angle H, angle B, angle F. Straight from this congruent statement. But does it help sometimes to draw a picture? Sure. And I wanna really make a point of underlining that fact that more often than you think, a picture makes it easier. More often than you think, a picture makes it easier. So don't be afraid to put a picture down. Pictures can help. Pictures are our friends. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? So the thing about what we talked about on Thursday with the, congruent corresponding parts and all that, with that situation where you find all 6 pairs of congruent corresponding parts, you have congruence. Is that hard to do a lot? Yeah, that's a lot of work. That's 6 different pairs of sides and angles that you have to deal with, and that's a lot of work. But because triangles are smaller, they have less sides and less angles, oftentimes certain things become easier, and certain things you can sort of take for granted. So in this chapter, and this is going to be our focus for this chapter, is triangles, because there's things that you can come up with from triangles, is that you're not going to ever need all 6, which is great. That's less work. But it is more keeping stuff in your mind, right? So today we're going to cover 2, and next class we're going to cover the other 3. But today we're going to cover 2. We're going to talk about side, 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 side angle, side. Those are the 2 that we're going to cover today. So let's go through and talk about these. What is side, side, side? Basically, we're saying that if we have all three pairs of side pairs congruent to each other, if we can show that that's true, then we don't need the angles. We have everything that we need. If you've got 1, 2, 3 pairs of congruent sides, then that is enough to show that the two triangles are congruent. So your book is going to actually walk you through and force you to say, all right, well, the reason I know this is because of this. The reason I know this is because of this, and so on, with the different proofs, with the flow charts and the paragraphs and the statement reason tables. But when it comes to what I expect of you, when it comes to what I like, if you're going to turn something in, you may do that if you like, but I'm going to show you a way to do it on paper that's not going to be as intense, because especially for these starting ones, a lot of it's going to be very clear to begin with. First thing I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you break these apart. We're going to be like, all right, well, let's look at this picture. We've got, okay, well, here's LM and NP. Those are congruent. Here's LP and NM. Those are congruent. They give you, you know, with the tick marks. And then if you look in the middle, you've got this side pair. Now, the reason that you'll have to give when you say that in your proof, like LN is congruent to LN, is the reflexive property. And I'm going to move this out the way eventually, but I'm going to put it here for now. The reason that you'll give for this is the reflexive property when you're doing the proofs in the assignment. But the reason I'm telling you that is just as a point of terminology. A really common way to describe this overlapping side pair, right? Because both the triangle up here at the top and the triangle up here at the bottom, they share this side LN. And so a lot of my students refer to a side like this, side LN here like this, as a reflexive side pair. And you can do that. I'm giving you that option. It's not like official vocab, but I've heard it enough and it's reasonable enough for you to use, especially because it'll help you remember the reason that you have to quote to say that those are congruent. All right, it's a reflexive side pair, or you'll talk about maybe like a reflexive angle pair. That's what we're talking about. All right, so when you are doing this, when we're talking about, okay, I want to prove this by side, 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 this is going to be the format of your answer. So the question will be, hey, are these congruent? And in this case, we look and we say, all right, well, let's detail this out because this is hard to just look at. I'll put P here at the top, and I'll copy down the congruence tick marks. This is N, and this is L. Okay, let me move over here. Let me erase this so I've got some room here. Well, let me do this first so that then I can put the appropriate letters where they need to go so that everything matches, right? I started with the letters for the first one, wrote down all the little congruency diacritical marks, and then I'm going to transfer the marks over to here, and then I'm going to fill in the letters on the second one last, just so that I know that everything is right. Well, what's in between the 1 and the 2? M, right? What's in between the 1 and the 3? L. What's in between the 2 and the 3? N. So now what I've done is I've taken everything and I've transferred all the information properly. I know that everything is right. And I look here, do I have side, side, side? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, all in the same spots. That's good enough for me. So are they congruent? Yes. How do we know they're congruent? By side, side, side congruence. And how do we know that it's side, side, side? I'm going to label my pairs. What's my one side? PN and ML. What's my two side? PL is congruent to MN. What's my three side? LN is congruent to NL. Right? So, thing number one, congruent or not? They're congruent. How do I know? By side, side, side congruence. Here's my three congruent side pairs that are given to me. And that's it. So if you can do this, this is the way that like in a situation where I'm specifically asking you in person, this is the way that I'm going to do it. The book is going to talk you through the proofs and just in the same way that you've done in all the other sections with the little drop down menus. And you know the answer is going to be pretty easy to figure out. Like, you know, here they give you the ones that are already built into the diagram. So how do you know that PN is congruent to ML? Given. How do you know that PL is congruent to MN? Given. How do you know that LN is congruent to NL? They're a reflexive side pair. So how do I know that the two triangles are congruent? I've got side, side, side. Side, side, side congruence. All right. So don't think too hard about these. They're really, really easy. Just like this one is the exact same thing. Go ahead and give it a try. Make sure you can do it. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the exact same thing here, right? Exact same thing. I'm going to move this up here. Give myself some room. So once again, I'm going to identify, hey, look, see in the middle here, there's a reflexive side pair. Let me mark that. Well, now let me take care of my picture here. I've got C up top, B on the left, D on the right. Between B and C is a 1. Between C and D is a 2. Between B and D is a 3. Let me transfer all that over here. And now let me identify all my pieces. Between the 1 and the 2, that's F. Between the 1 and the 3, that's B. Between the 2 and the 3, that's D. Right? So now I look and I say, all right, well, are they congruent? Right, they are. Same thing, right? Yes. Why? By side, side, side congruence. And how do I know? Well, what's my one pair? BC is congruent to BF. What's my two pair? CD is congruent to FD. And then what's my three pair? BD is congruent to BD. That with that reflexive side. Yeah? Pretty simple? Okay, so the other technique that we're looking at today is called side angle side. And basically, now we can get away with two sides as long as we have the angle that's right in between them. Got to be right in between them. So look at how they have it right here. You see the one side and the two side, and then the angle in the middle, the one side and the two side, and then the angle in the middle. The book refers to this angle in the middle as an included angle, the angle that is included between the two sides that we've noticed. So once again, we look at this. Are they congruent? Yes. How do we know? By side angle side congruence. Let's detail that. Well, what's my one side? AB is congruent to DE. What's my angle pair? Angle A is congruent to angle D. What's my side pair? AC is congruent to DF. That's my two pair. And that's it. That's all we're talking about, right? So let's do a problem here. Once again, take a second and identify what we have. We've got this reflexive side pair, so that is there, and we need to pay attention to that. So now I want to point out the specific directions are a little bit different now. They're saying, what other information do you need to prove that this is true with side angle side? So let me put together what I have so I can identify what I don't have. Well, look, I've got one and two. So let me just be okay, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. What's in between 1 and 2? F. Going down the 1, I know that's E over here. The other one's got to be D. Let's do the other one. What's in between 1 and 2? We've got D. Going down the 1, we got a G over here. Going down the 2, we've got an F over here, right? So this is what I have, and they want me to have side angle side. I don't have it yet. What do I still need? Well, I've got a pair of sides already, so I don't need any sides. I've got side and side, so I need the angle in the middle. Well, what's the angle in the middle of these two included sides? Angle F. What's the angle in the middle of these two congruent sides? Angle D. So if I had angle F was congruent to angle D, that would give me more than enough. That would give me more than enough because I'll have side, angle, side. All right. So I'm going to have y'all do the exact same thing here. You're going to be given information and you need to detail the thing that's missing. Okay. So once again, take the information you already know and put it on the diagrams so that you can see it a little bit better. Now, what I'm going to tell you is this. Generally, not everyone is going to need this, but generally speaking, the thing that has been the most difficult is when the triangles are just sort of any old way like they are. I always put, if I'm given, especially if I'm working with side angle side, I always put the angle on top. Again, this is not something you have to do, but it helps. If you're stuck, if you're confused, if you're having trouble seeing it, start here. So on this triangle, angle B is this given angle, and I know that this is BL, and so this one has to be N. And then, well, if L is here, going down the 1 here, that's B over here, and that's E over here. So now, what am I missing for side angle side? Well, I'm missing the other side on the other side of the angle. So I need this one. Well, side BN, and that's going to end up being congruent to side LE. And I'm not telling you that this is how you have to do it, but I am telling you that people who do it this way usually get it right because it's visible. You can see it, right? I need to have the two sides with the angle in the middle. Well, I've got this one. I don't have this one yet, so it has to be. All right. So now what I have here for you, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little diagrams. Some of them are side angle side. Some of them are side side side. Some of them are nothing. Some of them you can't solve because you don't have the right or enough information. Okay, so I'm going to give you the answers here. If you want me to explain why, we can do that. I'll give you some time to ask and answer questions, but for this one, the only way that you can do it is with side angle side. This one, they're not in the right place, so actually none, right? You cannot prove that these two triangles are congruent based on the information that you have. I don't have enough information to give anything because the angle is in the wrong spot. Here it's in between the 1 and the 2. Here it's not in between the 1 and the 2, so I can't put it together. This one is malformed, the one on the right. This one needs to be here, and it's not. Number 3, technically, you could actually do both. You could do side, 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 or since you've got the vertical angles up in here, you could do side angle side. For this one, side, side, side only. And this one actually only side, side, side. The sides are good. These angles are not in the right place to be able to use side angle side.